body of Tim Miller's daughter, Laura, is one of 4 that turned up in this League City field between 1983 and 1991.
Why don't we want to solve this? This is a big deal here.
It was kind of a Wild West. There was a lot of good old boys type stuff going on.
I invented drive-by shootings in Dickinson, Texas. Yes, I fought Clyde Hedrick.
Wrong place, wrong time, you know, run into the devil sometimes.
Now we really have a reason for this to be called the damn killing fields.
I feel it's my responsibility, and it's the responsibility of our family to continue to get answers and justice for her.
She was family. Somebody has to be her voice.
What I was told is that she was raped, brutally beaten to death, and left naked in a ditch.
And very, very, very early on, right after Laura's body was found, Clyde's name was brought up.
Either Clyde is the most unlucky human being that's ever walked the earth, or he's a killer.
You're considered the prime suspect and have been for a long time in the murders of Laura Miller, Heidi Fye, Donna Prudhomme, and Audrey Cook.
Yeah.
How do you respond to that?
I didn't do it. I've already been doing this for 44 years. Tim Miller shot in his head that I'm the one that killed his daughter because I was supposed to be living down the street from him. I didn't know then when I lived there. I was working all the time. So I've never met her, talked to her, never rode a bike with her, never smoked weed with her. That's all things that he's got fit in his head.
Vern, Laura's boyfriend, when they would walk from our house to their little cemetery right on the Dickinson Bayou, which is only 4 blocks away from my house, Laura used to like hang out in that cemetery in the bayou and that. And Vern says, yeah, we'd walk by this house and this guy would whistle at Laura and stuff. And one time he stopped and talked to her and I didn't like this guy, and so I left.
And it was Clyde?
It was Clyde. Tim Miller, Laura Miller's father, and also founder director of Texas EquuSearch.
Well, it's not just in Tim's head. I mean, the FBI considers you a suspect, the Galveston County Sheriff's Office considers you as a suspect, the Galveston County District Attorney considers you a suspect, so it's not just in Tim Miller's head.
But he's got most of them taken. He's got a lot of people public out there convinced.
You did live a couple of doors down from the Millers.
Supposedly, I mean, I don't know for sure. He said I did.
Laura Miller, he lived just a block away from, and we had witnesses that said that he knew her and would talk to her. And one person said that they saw Laura on the back of his motorcycle at one point. My name is Richard Renison. I'm a retired special agent with the FBI.
Do you know Heidi Fye?
No,
You never met Heidi Fye.
that's what I remember.
Clyde came to her house while I was there with Brandy, her youngest daughter. And I remember grabbing Brandy and going to the back room when this guy came over, because I just had that creepy vibe from him. He had this stringy blonde hair, and I don't know why I remember, like, his fingernails are dirty. I'm Nina Yeager, and I'm Heidi's niece, the first victim of the killing fields in Lake City, Texas. She worked for the Texas Moon. She bartended and she waitressed.
How popular was the Texas Moon?
Oh, it was the spot. It's where everybody went to dance.
Clyde the Slide, as his nickname was. Clyde the Slide. He was a big self-proclaimed dancer at the Texas Moon, and he would introduce himself by going out and sliding across the dance floor. Lieutenant Tommy Hansen, Galveston County Sheriff's Office, Major Crimes Unit, Cold Case Investigations.
Clyde was a good-looking guy. He was fit. He was pretty buff, and self-described one of the best dancers out there. And I think he actually did win some dance contests. So as often as he frequented the place, he would have had to known her. And there was one witness who said that they saw Heidi in the car with Clyde at one point.
She lived at the time just a few blocks away from there. I mean, maybe 8 or 9 blocks from the Texas Moon. And I remember I was there with Brandy, Heidi's baby, and she was only probably about 3.5 years old. And we were at Heidi's house, and he came over. They smoked a joint on the porch, but I took the baby to the inside, and we just stayed inside because I just wanted him to leave. And I told the police that. I actually picked his photo out, a binder of people. And I said, that guy came to her house. I didn't even know who he was at the time, but I know I picked his black and white photo out.
She talked about a guy who had killed a girl and had driven with her in the back and finally had dumped the body somewhere. She said the guy's name was Clyde. She also said that she had known Heidi and had seen her with a guy in a gray car. And she asked me if I knew him. I told her I knew just very little of Heidi's friends.
What led him to look at Clyde?
A mutual friend of Heidi and Clyde's, Cindy Williams, who, may she rest in peace, has now passed, repeatedly told my grandfather, you need to go look into them. I have a picture of all of us together. You need to have the police go talk to him.
He wants to talk to it because he wants those pictures that Cindy talked about. He's definitely hard on this guy, Clyde. And he feels that perhaps those pictures might lead to what he wants to know. Because the guy says that he didn't know Heidi, but Cindy told him he did. And that he looked at those pictures taken, that Heidi was also in the picture. And he says he knows the guy's lying. he told us about his opinion of this Clyde and how he knows the guy's lying when he talks to him. He had a book and he showed us some photos of the Clyde when the guy was in prison and now. He seems to think there is a connection and he's trying to find it.
I spent a lot of time listening to the tapes. I spent a lot of time reading through the notes. I spent a lot of time connecting dots, and I feel like I've gone to the authorities and I get such a small amount of their time to listen to me because I don't feel like they think I'm credible because I was so young. But my memory is very vivid. You don't go through something like this she was like my older sister. So you don't go through something like that with someone that was so close to you and not remember details.
He still maintains that the same person committed all these crimes, and he will stay on it until there is no more. He said it may be a month, a year, or longer, but he'll be on it until he finds out. But right now, he's convinced that it was Clyde, the way he talked.
Even though you were Clyde the Slide at the Texas Moon where she was a bartender, you never met her.
I know her from the bar, but I've never done drugs with them. I never hang out with them.
Okay, well, but at first you said you had no idea who she was. Now you're saying you do know her from
You
the
said
bar.
she was a bartender at the Texas Moon.
Right.
Okay, so, all right, then. But just mention her name doesn't ring a bell to me.
Okay.
It's just a name.
Okay. Do you remember seeing her niece when you were over at Edie's apartment?
Her niece?
Because she's the one who saw you at Edie's apartment. So she says you definitely knew Edie.
I knew her from the bar. I don't know her from no house.
What about Donna Prudham?
What about it?
Hi, I'm Diane Gonsolin. I am Donna Gonsolin Prudham's sister.
I saw a picture of what Clyde used to look like. And I can tell you exactly what came out of my mouth. Oh, that's Donna. Because he was a good-looking man. You know, he was a nice-looking man. And you know, he was known to be a dancer and a suave and debonair and other things. So I could see that. I had sent it to his wife, but I didn't know if she was ever had
Sent Clyde's picture.
the picture to Brad's wife. And then I asked him if he had ever seen the picture of Clyde. He says, who's Clyde? Because he stayed out of it too. He knew his mother didn't abandon him. And he said, that's all I need to know. I can go on with my life now. I send him the picture, and within seconds, he's calling me saying, that's him, Aunt Diane, that's him. That's him, I know it, I know it. I know what he had on, I know what his eyes look like, I know his shirt, I know his jewelry, I know his belt, I know his pants, I know his shoes. I can tell you what car he was driving, what color it was. Now, one might think a 12-year-old, how could they really remember this? He has a photographic memory, number one. Number two, when you grow up in a dysfunctional home, you are very in tune with everything going on around you and you pay close attention to detail. And that's what he did that day. I think that it's a different conversation that we're having. Especially with Brad's ID and Clyde. That was her last trip home.
Her son said that he saw you with her in Louisiana before she disappeared.
I've only been to Louisiana twice, and both times with the wife I'm with now. I've never been to Louisiana before, ever.
When he saw your picture and said, that's who was with my mom.
If he said, I've seen me in Louisiana, that's sort of and I've never been to Louisiana. I never even heard, I mean, I've heard of it, but I've never been nowhere near it. And so my wife I got now.
Donna Gonsolin was in the same circles as everybody else. She was just having a hard time.
But was she known to go to the Texas Moon?
I don't independently think we've ever been able to say that she was there. We didn't get an opportunity to interview some of the people that she was close to because they passed away. Donna's boyfriend or husband at the time that she went missing passed away about 3 or 4 months before we got Donna identified.
Well, Clyde, you know, he's had a pretty extensive criminal history for lots of different things. Thefts, weapons, drugs, alcohol, aggravated robbery. He's been handled for a bunch of stuff. Texas, Florida. He had a massive ego, everything that we learned about him.
Everybody was afraid of Clyde. He was very controlling, abusive, and manipulative. One of his exes, she was still very disturbed and very disappointed in herself for maintaining a relationship with him after the abuse and after things that he did to her. He just has left a wake of casualties.
It felt like it wasn't a matter if something was going to happen to our lives. It was more like a matter of when. When was it going to happen? Because there was one night, I got woken up in the middle of the night by my mother yelling, "Get out of the house. Clyde's lost it. He's going to kill us." And we're running to get out of the house. I look back and he's standing there completely naked, just standing there as we're driving off. I'm Marla, and Clyde Hedrick was my stepdad. He's very manipulative and calculated. Evil.
She said, "Oh yeah, he's trying to look at me, he's trying to have sex with me." Hell, I know, Maya and I have been charged with him. If all these people I'm supposed to be so violent to, how come none of them ever filed charges?
How did his name come up in these other murders?
It was determined he had some connection to some people that may have been connected to some of those girls. And they had developed him as a pretty good suspect. And when this case happened, it kind of helped support that this is what the personality that we're dealing with. We've learned through the investigations on Ellen's case and stuff, and comments that Clyde had made to other people that, do I have any doubt in my mind that he's potentially suitable for several of those girls? Absolutely, absolutely. I have no second qualms about that. All of them, I can't, I'm not gonna go there. He has verbally admitted to stuff, but you know, you've got to be able to add fuel to the fire to get a conviction on just him running his mouth. But he did. And that goes back to his ego. You know, his fellow inmates, he's, you know, running his mouth to them.
Apparently, this episode happened in a communal area in jail. So there were 3 people that overheard this conversation, or Clyde giving this rant. So we had multiple people. Some were just not credible. My name is Kevin Petroff. I'm a former assistant district attorney at the Galveston County District Attorney's Office. Texas law is very suspicious of jailhouse informants, or as they're commonly known, jailhouse snitches. Basically, you cannot make a case based on that. You have to have to have enough corroborative evidence to show that the person charged was actually involved in the murder. One of the things that we do in preparing for trial is we've got to give notice to the defense of just every bad thing we've ever heard about someone. Most of the time that doesn't come in trial, that's not relevant, but it's something that puts the defense on notice. We did not have, and still don't have, corroborative evidence to support that jailhouse informant story of Clyde in any way being involved in Laura Miller's death.
I've never admitted any of this, and I've denied everything, and I'm going to go to jail and so some young kid that I've never seen before, I'm going to confess all my sins to this young kid. It was just a young kid that was at my trial that said I supposedly told her that I kidnapped Laura Miller, and I had sex with her, and I saw I never said nothing like that.
Clyde was clearly the strongest suspect. And I remember we had a whiteboard with all these names on them. And slowly they would be crossed off, ruled out one way or another. And we could never rule out Clyde. Never rule him out. I certainly can't say definitively that he did it, but I can't, at this point, I can't see who else would have done it. But there's a piece missing before I'm comfortable saying it is definitely Clyde. And I can't say that it is definitely Clyde at this point, but I'm a long ways from ruling him out. He's the most likely suspect, in my opinion.
I've never been to the killing field. They call the killing field. I don't even know where it's at.
He claims he'd never even heard of Calder Road, knew nothing about Calder Road.
No, we came out here specifically to mow the lawn for his buddy. I was here. He was here. My mother was here. So he knows this place. He will always deny. There were just times off and on, he would just throw things out here and there. And one of the things being how he'll never go back to jail no matter what.
What is it about Clyde Hedrick that is so special that dozens of people in multiple law enforcement agencies on the state, local, and federal level want to conspire to make you a suspect? Why are you that special?
I don't know. I know two people, Tim Miller, he's just doing it for money, and then my ex-wife got it all started because I divorced her. She spent 3 years begging me to come back. I refused to do it. And she made a statement that if I can't have it, nobody can.
But that's one comment. That doesn't explain why, after 4 decades, police in the FBI and the DA's office will not remove your name as a suspect. That one comment from an ex-wife doesn't explain 4 decades of suspicion that will not go away.
And now they're like a dog with bone. Now they got it, they ain't gonna let go of it. 2 or 3 years go by, they got new detectives, new ideas, new technology, and they start all over again. They interview me again, cameras, wanting to see if my story is still the same as it was 2 years ago. There's nothing they can take to the DA. They keep interviewing me, same people, each time this person said, they got all these people, I've seen them. If they had all that, I'd be in prison for that.
I filed the wrongful death suit to let Clyde Hedrick know that Clyde, I'm still here. I am still here, and I'm not going to quit. And until the day I die.
Tim Miller sued Clyde Edwin Hedrick in 2014, claiming he has evidence that Hedrick is responsible for the murder of his daughter Laura Miller, who disappeared in 1984 and was found in 1986 in what has become known as the Killing Fields.
As time goes by, the more information I get, and the more information I'm continuing to get. I have no doubt in my mind, but Clyde Hedrick is responsible for Laura's murder.
Monday morning, a judge granted Miller's request for a default judgment and awarded him more than $21 million in damages.
We did reach out to Clyde on several occasions and invite him to tell his side of the story, and told him there was an opportunity to do that, and he wasn't interested.
Did he not respond, or did he just say no?
No, he responded, and he said no unequivocally.
A lot of the evidence we brought forward, we don't want to go ahead and talk about now because we don't want to interfere in the investigation.
Miller did say when Hedrick's San Leon home was foreclosed and the owners allowed him access to the house, he spent $6,000 cleaning up the property and boxing up Hedrick's items. When we contacted Galveston County District Attorney Jack Rohde about the civil judgment, he said the criminal cases remain ongoing, but added Clyde Hedrick has not been ruled out as a suspect in these investigations.
I was hoping that we could go ahead and do a deposition and ask the questions and throw things that we know at him and stuff. So it was another way to go ahead and question Clyde Hedrick on things that we know and stuff, and for him never to respond or anything. And he got very, very ugly with my attorneys when they contacted him. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm not going to get rotator cuff surgery tomorrow but you know what? If I wouldn't have done everything I've done over the years, I really feel as though this case would be locked up, closed, nobody hear about it again. Nobody had a voice in this thing. I was the only voice, and again, I'm not saying that bragging about it, because it's been a damn difficult, emotional journey, if you want. I was upset with Hedy's dad when he passed away, because it's like, now I'm like the only dad to these damn girls.
I find it hard to believe that anyone has actually thoroughly gone through all the things that Tim and I have together. So let's put it before a grand jury. Let's let the people decide if they want him out.
But they say we can't use these jailhouse snitches. Well, like I told DA, I said, what do you think these people meant in Bible study? This family out of Seabrook called me one night and said, Mr. Miller, can we please talk to you? And we don't want to bring up bad stuff, but how did you handle your daughter being missing? Because our 14-year-old daughter is missing. And so when I went over to their house and I walked in their house, I seen that look on their face of the helplessness, the hopelessness, and the fear. And it was like, my God, that's how I had to look for 17 months. And the loneliness, and I helped them make some flyers up and everything. We got the flyers out, and they called me 2 days later. Mom did cry, Mr. Miller, thank you. Because of flyer, we got her located, and she's okay. And it's like, maybe there is something I can do. I say this all the time. I choked up a little bit. I didn't choose Equisearch, it chose me. Yeah, it chose me.
saw the for sale sign, called the realtor, and had a great conversation. And I was thinking to myself, this is perfect. And then he said at the end of the conversation, I'm obligated by law to tell you something about the property. And he asked me if I'd heard of the killing fields. And I stopped and I said, so are you saying that these are close to the killing fields? He said, no, I'm telling you, these are the killing fields. I just felt so defeated, but I still took it to the church, and I probably didn't have as much faith as they did, because I just thought there's no way they're going to want to be involved with this. But the opposite was true. They loved the idea of buying this property, redeeming the land, doing something good on which something very bad was done. We consider this to be holy ground and sacred space, and we will never do anything here. We've got plenty of land, and so we'll just build around it as needed.
They deserve that attention. They deserve that love. They deserve to know that people care and still care and will always care.